going on, guys? Just launching up now. I'm posting on the social here. Launching up now. You guys should be good. Let's see. I'm gonna launch up and we can get this party on the road here. Okay. This. Okay. Keep this tight here. Okay. What's going on, guys? Hope everyone had a nice weekend. Really excited about today's session. I'm going to talk through some of the discussions that we're going to have today, along with the big Q&A session at the end. I'm going to usually go longer than expected here. Usually Q&A is about 10-15 minutes. Maybe we'll do 20 to 30 minutes here, which would be good. So let me just quickly get set up, guys. A minute or two here. Just want to make sure all the folks who can tune in live with us tonight are able to attend. Sometimes it takes some of the old timers, and including some of the millennials, myself, to get logged in here. Technology can be hard to use sometimes. So just give everyone a minute or two to check in, and we'll get started, get the show on the road. Okay, let's go. Okay. We got 50 viewers off the rip. Very nice. Ryan Jones, Gertish, Steve, Lexi and Grace, Brandon, The Move, Godzilla, Almond. How are you guys? What's going on? Appreciate you guys jumping on here. Just quickly say live now. Tune in. Let me just quickly say copy link. Live now. She sent. Oh, there we go. Just jumped to almost 100 viewers there. Cool. I'd like to get around 200, 300, 400 here, hopefully on tonight. I know it's Sunday. It is the weekend. Robert, how are you? Steven, how are you? Superfish, Mr. Hawk, Jay Currency, Wesley, Chris, Vicky. What's going on, guys? Appreciate you guys taking the time tonight. I promise I won't waste any time. We're going to get right into it. It's going to be a great session. Hopefully everyone brought a notepad or a computer to take some notes, because usually these sessions rock. I get a ton of really good positive feedback, as well as a ton of DMs on it with questions. And, we've had traders in our Discord and, throughout other socials saying, how these sort of shape the way they trade and do really well. This is a really good learning tool. So I love to do stuff like this. I love to teach. I love to coach. And I really love to emphasize the TA stuff. And so, yeah, we'll just kind of go into it, dive deep, and take a whole market analysis out of it. So pretty excited for today's session. Okay, we jumped to 120 viewers here. I'm going to try and get started maybe around 130, 150 viewers. Give everyone a minute to get on. I know technology is sometimes hard to use. Do a quick intro on myself for about 10 seconds, and we will jump into it, boys and girls. Appreciate it. All right, so I think we'll probably jump in. So for those that don't know me, I know I reached out. This is a free session. This is a free host session I reached out on StockTwits, Webull, and other social platforms that we have a lot of followings with. I am Spud from Spud Zone. I've been trading full time for a few years now. Run a large Discord with a great team. You guys can check us out at Spud Zone. That is Spud-Zone on Discord. Have about 30,000 members in there. You can check us out. It's day trading and swing trading, as well as large indexes, options, and equities. Not so much on the future crypto side. So that's the main focus. I'm a day trader at heart. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial planner. I have no types of licenses at all. I just alert what I'm trading in real time. I've had a large following for quite some time trading equities. So you can join me on my journey. You can follow us along with some of the ideas, market analysis I give. I eat, breathe, sleep the markets. I do this 20 hours a day. I very much enjoy it. And it's a ton of fun. And I love to coach and teach and obviously hence do a lot of these sessions. For those that have joined, the growing has went from 10, 20, 30 people years ago. And now we're at hundreds and thousands of views in sort of these videos. So I know they work. I've seen tons of positive feedback. We've had great Q&A sessions. We've had some fantastic traders join the Discord. We just had a trader named Dougie, as many know in the Discord, one of the options traders. Started with 15,000 2.5 months ago. He just hit $1 million net profits on the P&L on Friday. Huge congrats to him over the voice here now. And so, yeah, guys, I'm really excited for this week specifically. There was a ton of volatility on Friday. Not even much volatility, just a straight line downtrend. I'm going to talk through some of that. We got it earliest. Probably some of the best entries on the street there Friday afternoon. I almost got in before the confirmation on the put side and on the short side. And I'm going to talk through some of the entries, some of the positioning going into tomorrow. I think futures open up pretty soon here, and I'm going to imagine it's going to be a pretty bloody day in the morning. So do hold your breath if you're not short. It could be a little bit ugly out of the open. And I'll talk through some of that why. So today's session, I wanted to cover about 4 separate points with you guys. And then the 5th will just be a huge Q&A. So if you have some questions you've always wanted to ask me, or just have some questions for the traders or anyone else in the community, like we're just going to shoot them out. I'll do my best to answer some of them. It could be around strategy. It could be around mistakes you're having. I'm not a perfect trader by any means, nowhere close to it. I do my best, obviously, to trade on my own and obviously give consistency into what my ideas are doing. But I like to take a really, unique approach to the markets, and whether that's a scalp on a day trade or whether that's a sort of a swing trade mentality. And I'm going to talk through some of that stuff. But today's points, we're going to first start off with Powell. For those that don't know, that's Jerome Powell, the Fed chair. He had a big 8-minute, not even big, a very short, I guess, per se, a short 8-minute speech on Friday afternoon after their Fed meeting in Jackson Hole. I'm going to talk through some of the points. For me, right when I heard some of the lines, right away I could tell it was scripted, and he was very much choosing some of his language. So I'm going to talk through that. That's going to be one of the points today that we're going to run through. That's going to be a quick one, and why I decided to go short on Friday. 2, we're going to discuss price action. A lot of people requested, hey, Spud, how do you determine price action? How do you see price action sort of through the screens? How do you feel it through the monitors? How do you see it on a sort of candlestick, right? How do you sort of, emphasize, are we going to go up or are we going to go down? And that's what price action is to me. And I'm going to talk through examples of what bullish price action means, whether we're going up, or bearish price action, actually, whether we're going down. And as a trader, price action is everything. Because if you can follow price action, you can predict where the move is going to go. And that can be on an intraday level, like during the actual day itself, or that can be like a shorter term or a longer term where the stock may, stock index, equity, commodity, where that may be going longer term as well. So I'm going to kind of talk through some of those points. The third piece we're going to talk through is entries and exits. So, and those entries and exits, as a day trader myself, I'm going to talk through the entries and exits from a day trade perspective. 2 great examples from Friday, and I'm going to talk through those. And then the 4th one we're going to talk through is just, I'm going to go through about 5 or 6 sort of the technical analysis piece. So I'm going to walk through the QQQ, the SPY, where we could be heading on the chart, right? So if you take positions from a short-term, long-term perspective, where we may be able to hit some of the entries, exits you might be looking for, whether that's short or long. I'm going to talk through Tesla, NVIDIA. And then I'm going to cover a small cap. I know there's a lot of small cap lovers in the group, and I used to love small caps, but they've been pretty dead all year with a couple jolts. Maybe in between. There was a couple of jolts a couple of weeks ago with that HKD name. Brought up some FOMO, sort of chasing going on. Ever since that, everything sort of died down, crashed down. But I'm going to talk through a name, NERV. And just from an example standpoint, I have no position in it. I'm going to walk through the NERV. That seems to be showing up some bullish signs from the last couple of days. That was the best sort of small cap I could show from an example of almost the most recent. I did not play it at all. But I'm going to kind of talk through why that showed bullish signs and why that was bullish price action. So mostly mega cap, mostly mega tech. I'm going to talk through some of that stuff, little indexes, and then sort of that. And then 5 guys going to be the big Q&A session. So roughly give or take about an hour and 15 from this session. Obviously, you can hop off. We will be recording this session, so you can jump off whenever you want and come back on, if your points were touched, etc. Last thing I want to mention, we do have a big Discord. You can go check us out on Discord. Our tech team has posted it multiple times in the comment section in the top of the chat on the YouTube sidebar. Our tech team will answer any questions during or throughout the session, so you can definitely write there as well. We also do live education programs. Our head of options, Harmony Trades, has a big following in the Discord. He does weekend tutoring sessions, so you can more than likely, if you love this session, you can go hop on with some of him, and it's a little bit more hands-on, more personal. So feel free to hop on those. And let's jump right into it, guys. So I want to show you one line, 25 seconds, 30 seconds of Jerome Powell Friday, and then we're going to jump right into the session. I just want to show you guys, this is what I was hearing on the tape right at 10:30 in the morning, I believe it was. And I just want everyone to listen to this.
Restoring price stability will take some time and requires using our tools forcefully to bring demand and supply into better balance. Reducing inflation is likely to require a sustained period of below-trend growth. Moreover, there will very likely be some softening of labor market conditions. While higher interest rates, slower growth, and softer labor market conditions will bring down inflation, they will also bring some pain to households and businesses. These are the
That right there, to me, was extremely hawkish, right to the point, used the words pain, used the words slow or no growth, and just got into it right away. And you sort of saw it on the SPY. I mean, you literally saw it. And that was right. I mean, things started getting really spicy right in here. And it's sort of dying out of the gates on the SPY. This is the S&P 500, guys. This is the 5-minute candlestick. I use 5 minutes for almost every trade of mine intraday because it gives me a really good understanding of where the stock or ticker index may go, right? So I actually went short in here on the jolt down after I heard it, as it seems like everyone else on the street did. It was a pretty obvious, really hawkish tone, really negative. 3 million shares down on that, almost a full bip down. And then all of a sudden, his tone got a little bit more, I guess, not hawkish for about 10 seconds. And I don't know why that jolted up. It actually recovered fully. It didn't spook me out because I understood his message very plain and simple. And the bull case for this run up, guys, for the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks was that the Fed may stop hiking and actually reduce the rates maybe in 2023 and maybe lower interest rates. And there was this whole talk about the pivot. We're going to go back into a bull market. And he basically shut all of that down and multiple times said, we're going to reiterate this. And it just kept repeating himself throughout the session. And that's what I gathered from the session. So I told the team, I went short immediately right when this hit right down here on that candle. I was actually at a good position, probably the middle of this bar on the SPY. And I took puts for next Monday, actually tomorrow, and then next Friday on the SPY here. And then I got a little nervous here, but then I wrote to the team. I said, hey guys, like that was super hawkish to me. I'm waiting for people to read that excerpt. I'm waiting for people to hit replay. I'm waiting for the market makers to really understand where this market should be going. And it scared me here because we didn't get the jolt down move. I thought maybe the move would go here right away. And then finally, we just broke it. And I'm going to talk through some of that. But, where the markets are going, guys, this was a fade all day. SPY, it was an easy trend. It was just down. There was no bounces, really, just straight down. I mean, once it broke down here, once it broke below here, you short. Everyone shorted down. People got jolted out here on the short side, maybe on this fake pump, and then bang. Just went straight. 2.5 hours of 3 hours of just straight selling. So this just came down and sort of just closed, and then it even dropped even further in after hours. So we have the U.S. futures, we have the markets, the future contracts showing up now. I imagine, guys, tomorrow will be bloody. When the S&P 500 crashes over 3 or 4% in a day, I mean that's day one. That was the day one drop on a Friday afternoon in the middle of summertime because of how hawkish the tone Powell has. Of no growth, potentially no pivot, needs to hold interest rates at a really high to crush the CPI and PCI. I mean, and crush inflation. I mean, that's just showing me, I think bearish short term could be the play here. And that's the positioning I'm probably going to take over the next 2 to 3 weeks time period. And I'm going to be looking for names that got really, really overbought in the last 3 to 5 weeks. And those are the names I'm going to be targeting on the short side and put side. Okay. So that's going to be sort of my bearish take on the markets. And you saw the price action show it. And that was just a Friday summer in the afternoon. So imagine what Europe may do tomorrow morning or China to do tonight. Like a lot of those, positions may have not been able to get out Friday afternoon during all of this dumping, right? I mean, some things got slaughtered. Nvidia dropped 8%, 9%, 10%. I don't even know where it closed at. I'm going to sort of cover that shortly. But so I'm going to imagine and take an educated guess that tomorrow morning could be bloody in pre-market just from sort of the Europe selling off in pre-market while everyone's sleeping. So let's see how that works. I want to see what we wake up to. We could gap down and hit my targets, which I'm going to talk to shortly on some of this stuff. I just want to talk through the Powell tone of what changed the market Friday. was that no growth or no or little growth, slow growth, rates for high and long time, similar to the 1970s. I wasn't alive in the 1970s, but I did obviously a lot of research and sort of everyone's referring to the 1970s. And basically during then is rates stayed high for a particular set of time. And that's not good for equities. That means slower or no growth for stocks. And that means harder, sort of bigger moves on the balance sheet. And so, higher rates are not good for a lot of equities. And so, I'm going to take that approach. I just wanted to sort of go through that excerpt and sort of walk through like why the markets changed to position Friday. And then I'm going to sort of walk through from a day trade perspective how we trade that, okay? So that was the Powell. We got through point one. Point two, I'm going to walk through what we call price action, okay, team? This is called price action. And everyone's like, Spud, what do you mean by price action? Like, what does that mean? Like, it's really hard for me, Spud, to like understand what price action means. I study a lot. I just don't get it. And price action does come with some screen time. And I'm going to talk through price action. I'm going to show you guys what bullish price action is. You just saw the SPY, right? This is the 5-minute chart. I just want to show everyone the SPY, right? Just straight line, sort of just a V, like a, I don't even know what shape that would be, like I guess a half a Z, I don't know. Just a straight sort of line down. It just was just selling, that's the trend. You guys see it just down, right? It's not up this way. It's just straight down, right? So now let's look at a stock called, everyone knows, Tesla. I want to show you guys what the price action looks like on Friday. This is the 5-minute mark. This is what I call 5-minute candle bars. And I highly recommend using candlesticks. This is how I like to trade because it gives you a perception of understanding of like where things are going to go. And I'm going to talk through what bullish looks like and bearish looks like. So you guys all saw the spider. You all saw QQQ. QQQ did the same thing as the SPY. Look at that. Just straight down the whole day. But now let's look at Tesla because it did not go straight down the whole day. And that is what I call really bullish price action on an extremely bloody day. And what I mean by that is, right, out of the gates, Tesla actually whipped up 2 million shares. It was up almost 2% here at 301. And then it started selling off with the NASDAQ, selling off with the SPY. So now if I'm a short on Tesla, right, and I bet shorts, it looked like it from the chart, did not get what they want. And so this is a name, Tesla, that I am going to be probably looking to attack tomorrow. I'm probably going to be trying to attack this name tomorrow. And I'm probably going to try and look for downside on this name. And I'm going to talk through why on multiple charts and multiple time frames. Now, from an intraday perspective, I want to talk through what price action means. So at price action, right, this consolidates 9:30 a.m. The bell opens. New York Stock Exchange opens. We get consolidation. And then bang, 2% move on this candle on 2 million shares. That's a really strong price action to the upside. After consolidating for 30 minutes, this rips up after 35 minutes. So it's like, whoa, okay, there's a lot of buying today on Tesla being done, not much sellers. Algos and market makers seem strong on this name. Let's follow this up. So what you have is then we'll pull back, and then you have new traders come in saying, well, that was a big move. Let's try the dip. Maybe we could sell at 305, maybe 310, right? And what happened was it actually got rejected because the SPY and QQ started selling off. But guess what Tesla closed at? What did it close at? Down 2.5 bips? Maybe 3 bips, 3%. And when I say bips, 3%, I mean, I don't know. It didn't really die. Like Nvidia died. It literally went down 9% from like +2 to +3, but down 9%. Apple, I think, fell 2 or 3%. I mean, the big guys were all down more than Tesla. So, to me, that was really bullish on such a bloody day. Normally that like Tesla would fall off a cliff. And everyone was just trying to slam it. And you could just see everyone's trying to slam it here. But once it broke here, if I'm a short, I'm waiting for this break. Once I see the 294 break, I hop in. I'm waiting for new downside. I don't know where the downside is going to be. Could stop at 290. Could go all the way down to 270s, 280s. But it never got below. And as the SPY, right, was just falling down, right? I'm going to show you guys on the line here, just so it's just really simple. See this wick? These are what I mean by wicks. So this is the candle, right? Where the buy happened was the low was actually 295.06. That's what I call a wick. See this little wick? I call it like a tail. And you're going to notice this tail and a lot of other, I'm going to show some small cap examples as we go through. Right when you sort of the selling comes down in here and we break this wick, as a trader watching this, I say, ooh, bearish. Why? Because this is where the buying started, guys. And if there's no buy demand zone at 295 anymore, where's the next one? I don't know, because it's now breaking all the pre-market highs, pre-market lows, and intraday lows, right? Which is down here at 10 a.m. And then now it's like, okay, I'm going to go short because I don't know where the bottom's going to be intraday. So now people tack on the short trades in here. They've loaded some puts. But guess what? The move never happened with Tesla as many probably thought it would, right? And I don't know why this had bullish price action. Does that mean news is coming next week, tomorrow? Does that mean news is coming this week and positive news? I don't know. Does that mean, I know they had the stock split. Does that mean there was just sort of a moving and aligning of contracts all week so there wasn't much movement in the stock? Maybe they wanted to collect weekly premiums. I don't know why the stock did not gap up or down on Friday. But it never made a move that I would have thought would have happened with the SPY and QQ. So that to me shows bullish price action. Now, when I show you that, consolidates. Now, this is about almost an hour of consolidation, no movement. 11 to 12. And guess what happened from 11 to 12 in the QQQ? Let me tell you what happened in the QQQ. That's bullish price action. Let me tell you what happened with bearish price action. Right? This consolidates, right? All day, consolidates, 11 to 12. Same thing, consolidates, right? 11 to 12, consolidates a little bit. QQQ sort of takes actually a half a point dip here at about 12, okay? And I monitor the indexes with particular names because then you could show where's strength, and where's weakness. Yeah, Tesla dropped a little bit, what? Maybe a little over a half a point, not much. Probably should have dumped a point or two on that, right? Right, and then it's here, consolidates again, rips up, consolidates, rips up, and it never just fell down. But look what the QQQ did the rest of the day, and Tesla didn't. It just fell off a cliff from 312 all the way to 306. But guess where Tesla closed at? It's consolidated at 290. It closed at, what, 288 something, 289, right in here. 288, 290, whatever it was. So it really didn't even do anything from 1220 on. While the whole market was going down to the bottom of the C, Tesla just sort of stayed still. So to me, that shows me there's not a lot of sellers in this name. And as I said, I don't know why. Typically, that means there's maybe news coming or there's a lot of demand to buy this stock, right? Now let's go to NVIDIA. So this is what I call bullish price action, team, okay? Everyone sort of understand that? A lot of consolidation. It's not dying with the broader market. Now let's talk about NVIDIA, because this is a full-on just death wish. This thing just got absolutely annihilated all day, every day for that day. No bounce, not even a second of hope, just straight down, no remorse. I mean, this thing ripped up out of the gates like Tesla did, right? At 1010 with the Powell thing, the QQQ ripped. And then once it broke here, same thing, guys. This is what I'm going to talk. You're going to hear me say wicks. Look at this bottom wick, this bottom green wick. Once it broke this wick, MMs, algos, traders like myself, retail traders, institutional traders, macro traders. Right here, when you break this wick intraday, that shows you that there are now new lows in this stock on the day. What happens is there's a flush. We see now a 1% candle flush. So Tesla's biggest candles down on the 5-minute, guys, what were they? You know, 0.38%, about 1/3%. While this candle is doing 1%, another, 0.64. That's now 2%, right? Almost getting close to 2% here, right? So the difference between Tesla and NVIDIA is this. NVIDIA, everyone was running for the hills, selling as fast as they could, big sell pressures, while Tesla was just consolidating here and here, down a little bit, then recovers, down a little bit, then recovers, consolidates, right? Whereas NVIDIA is just going new lows, new lows, new lows, breakdown, new lows, breakdown, new lows, and then it just got absolutely annihilated into close. Right? So this was just what I call a bearish trend, easy to ride once it broke here, right? And that's what I call bearish price action. It went with the indexes. It actually dropped further with the indexes. So as the indexes got weaker, NVIDIA was even more weaker. As the indexes got weaker on Friday, Tesla was even more stronger, right? So that's what I call bullish price action, bearish. Okay, everyone's probably like, Spud, I get the point. Hopefully you guys get it. Take some notes here. And it's all about the wicks and where we drop below. Same thing on the bull side. Now, if you're a trader, right, and it breaks below here, a lot of longs who bought in here, their stop loss is going to be the bottom wick because they know if it breaks down in here, we could go lower. So once you broke here, the stop loss rate happens and the volume starts to kick in on the sell side. This is when you break here, you go short and you play for the downside move. What happened was it broke down and it just never recovered or reversed back up. It just went straight down. So that's price action, okay? That's topic number 2, okay? Leads me into the point of topic number 3, entries and exits, which I just talked about. They sort of coincide with one another. Price action and entries and exits. Right here, this wick would be an entry for a short position or buying puts for a predicted downside lowered move because these technicals broke down. And these are intraday, right? 5-minute chart, right? Now, if we reversed up, you got a green candle of this size right here, recovered up, maybe a little consolidation, and then we saw a green up into here. That would be a double bottom, and we'd want to buy calls to maybe retest the double top to 178 from 173, 174, right? But no, we broke, so that means we ride the trend down. So this is where you'd want to enter a short, most likely. This is where you'd probably want to look for some puts. And you'd probably want to maybe put your stop loss. A lot of questions on social media for me around where do you put stop losses? Typically, if I take a position here on a short, I'll probably put my stop loss right around maybe here, the top of the wick where it started to sell. So that if it hits this, I basically break even, zero money. Maybe, you know, if it's a option, high risk option contract, maybe I lose 5 or 10% in here. Or maybe if it's just shares, I'll probably put the shares like here, in the middle of here, because if it hits here, maybe we might go higher. And it never hit. So you put the stop here, we just kept going and going. And I'm bad at this too, guys, sometimes. When a stock going up or down, this thing just obviously kept going down. I like to move my stop loss down. So picture the horizontal line here is your stop loss. I like to move it down with the momentum. Down with the momentum. Down with the momentum. And so actually where I got stop lossed out on all my SPY puts, on all my Tesla contracts, all of it, was this green wick, actually. I didn't lock profits here. I kept moving it down, I finally put like a stop loss in this zone here. Made a ton of money on my SPY contracts, almost 18 grand worth on these probably 4-bar play down. I think they ran for like 100% there, and then they closed at like 300%. And that's just next Friday. Mondays ran 700% that I alerted on SPY. And I tried playing very conservatively. And this green wick up stopped me out for profits on everything because I was nervous that the green wick would just break out here and then maybe we recover a bit because it was choppy. I was nervous because that Powell, when he started talking about all this craziness, all the hawkish comments, it dropped like a rock. And then it recovered so quickly. So I was like, there must be some miscommunication going on. Or maybe I'm too early on the trend. There was a lot of second guessing in my head. So I sort of just covered for a lot of profits in here. It was a Friday afternoon on a summer Friday. I thought the move maybe would come this week. And then it just got rejected and the whole move happened down here. Okay, so that's what we call entries, exits. You know, you want to enter a short here and just cover somewhere in here. Anywhere was profitable, whether you're entered here. You could then enter here when it broke down and you would have made money. So there was a ton of opportunity to the short side on this NVIDIA name. Tons of scalps to the downside on this name. Okay? Whereas Tesla, as I said, there wasn't much opportunity, right? If you tried to short this breakdown, you had to cover in here. Short this breakdown, you had to cover in here. So there wasn't much of just a downward trend until this is all after hours. So don't keep in mind, this doesn't even really count. It started to sell after hours, which is why I think it might be selling off this week. We'll see. It could be right. I'm looking for a 5 to 7% pullback this week on Tesla. I'm going to be looking for puts. I'm probably going to be a chaser, but we'll see if I can get a nice entry. I'm hoping for a little bit of a bounce. I could sort of sneak in there for some put contracts. Obviously, I'll keep everyone updated if I do enter. So that's what we call sort of the enter. So like, you know, for this example, if this breaks, you'd want to probably try a short there. Okay. So that's Tesla, NVIDIA. The next three I want to talk to is a small cap is Nerve, and then I'm going to cover QQQ SPY. Nerve, SPY, and Alibaba. And I'm going to talk through Alibaba. A lot of people are like, why Alibaba? China, D.U.S., blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, but I'm very, very, very bullish on emerging markets. And I'm going to talk through why. So I'm going to talk through Nerve. This is a small cap name. Everyone knows. I'm going to look through the 10-minute, sort of the 5-minute chart, right? So I want to talk through what bullish price action looks like and where maybe you'd want to try an entry and where to exit. Everyone's like, Spud, where do I exit tickers? I'm so bad at exiting tickers. I don't know when to take profits. I'm greedy. I don't know when. I don't have targets. I don't have a plan. And that's when really things can get a little bit ugly because you can't maximize. And I sometimes have trouble maximizing. It's really hard. I'm always like, oh, I just left so much money on the table. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. But that's trading. If you're making profitable trades, don't second guess yourself. Just continue to do that strategy because guess what? Over time, base hits add up. They really do add up. You don't need the home runs, guys. I stress this daily. You don't need the home runs and grand slams. That's one of a zillion traders that get lucky. They call it the blah, 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 and they get retired, whatever. Guess what? The guys who's hitting consistent base hit singles each and every day, each and every week, each and every month are doing incredibly well on a 5, 10, 15-year program. And they're doing so well. So don't get hung up on this, these grand slams. So I want to kind of talk through quickly what bullish price action on a penny stock would be. And not so much, I guess this isn't a penny stock. What's the market cap here? Maybe 100 million. So yeah, it's still considered a small cap. And by the way, we just hit 216 viewers. Love that, guys. That means we are doing a wonderful job. So thank you guys for joining and sort of understanding all this. So let's talk about nerve, okay? This is now the 5-minute candlesticks. These are 5-minute candlesticks, right? And so for me as a trader, right, where would I want to enter this stock if it's bullish? Everyone's talking about it on social media. Point 72 took a huge 13G filing. They're a huge, massive sort of hedge fund asset manager. Like they're a big name company. They don't mess around. Like, oh, there's a lot of news going around this one. It's popped 100% in a couple of days. Whoa, how do I get involved, right? And so, for me, I always look at really strong names, whether that's Bed Bath & Beyond when it was making its run. Not going to brag. We alerted that thing at 470, 480. It ripped all the way to $30. That was probably one of the best calls of the year thus far. That thing was just crazy to watch for some of the members. It was just a wild move. But let's talk through Nerve. Okay. Nerve here, we had a crazy move, 11 a.m., right? This is what I call consolidation in here, right? So if I'm a trader, maybe I take this dip. I enter in this dip, consolidates, I take a little dip again, I dabble. My stop loss would probably be around 648, right under that 650 crisp. If we break 650, we trend down to the 6s, high 5s, and it's probably not worth my bite. But you dabble in here, you put a stop loss down in here, you get a rip up. It's a 4% move, 6%, that's a 10% move. You're going to have your penny stock traders like myself, along with many others who want to scalp 10% in 10 minutes. I'll take that any day of the week. Sign me up. Where do I sign up for more? I'm going to probably sell into this spike in here, maybe scale out half. But, on a strong name at 11 a.m., if I didn't make a trade and that was my first trade of the day and you can make 10%, probably take some out. Then you got profit-taking dips, just like I said. Profit-taking never broke down back to where this second candle came in at 715. Now we have new higher lows. Now the new lows are not 670s. They're now 740s. Now keep in mind, I never played this stock. I haven't traded it once. I may look to trade it this week if the momentum continues to the upside. And what I mean by that is I'll show you guys shortly. And so this just kept building newer highs. Now we're higher highs, higher lows. Now we're consolidating in the 740s. Now guess what happens? When we get a candle up, we break the high wick here. Now we have new highs on the day. We broke 8, right? Now we probably want to increase that stop loss. Now that's under 648. We want to move the stop loss to maybe this here, 742, almost a full $1 per share. Now we're going to put the stop under here because if it breaks below this wick, guess where we're going? We're going right back down the 7s, right? Low 7s, high 6s because we broke the big candle up, right? Which then shows bearish tendencies. But no, this kept ripping. So higher highs, breaks out. Now we're flat for about 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then kaboom, 8% here up. So that's just a higher low, consolidate. New traders say, okay, this is strong again today. Let's play it. Bang, big candle. That's a 2 million wick up. Now you're probably going to move the stop loss from here. You're probably going to want to put it here where it consolidated. Breaks down below 8, you lock profits. What a trade. 670s to 8s. What is that, 20%? I'll take that any day of the week. Sign me up. So then we break out here. Consolidate these big FOMO, what I call FOMO candles to the upside. This is really typically where you want to be selling. You buy the fear on a strong name. You want to sell the FOMO. When everyone's talking about it's going to the moon, that's typically what I'm saying. Thank you. I'm taking profits. That's what I'm selling. When everyone's saying, when Bed Bath & Beyond was in the 15, 20, 25, that's when we're looking to sell. We're not looking to buy Bed Bath & Beyond at 25 and look to sell it at 50. What are the chances of that? It just ran from 5 in like 4, in 5 to 8 days. Right? So when things are like super FOMO'd, you typically want to be selling into strength. So you want to be selling somewhere from here into here, right? And then you have, obviously you see now profit taking. But it's really funny, guys, because you're going to be like, holy, it's like purely technicals. Where did Nerve bounce on a 5-minute? See, we're back to my wick discussion. See this wick? This little wick right here. 885. No way. Could that really be? Did we bounce again an hour and a half later at 885? To the penny almost. We bounced again to the penny. And guess where it happened? New traders said this looks strong. I'm going to take this bottom wick. I'll probably set my stop under here at 885 to 810. It's worth the risk. And then we explode. People then get in at 885 and they sell the new high day rip around 10 and 11s. That's another 20, 30%. Could have bought at 670, sell in the 11s. That's a max trade. Could have bought here, sold here, sold here, sold here. Rebuy, sell here. Okay, consolidate, rebuy, dip buy, end of day push. Bang. Pretty easy trade, pretty easy trade concept. And that's what I call bullish price action. Higher high breakouts with higher and higher lows and a post-consolidation push, okay? Hopefully that's really helpful. Take some notes on that. That's a small cap Nerve. Last two I'm going to cover, and then I'm going to jump right into the Q&A session in a little bit. So right now we've done Powell. We've talked global markets. We've done price action. We've done entries, exits, where I just sort of talked through. That's now 3 topics out of the 5 covered. Our 4th topic is the technical analysis, but we just sort of covered a lot of that. So I'm going to talk through actually some of my little piece and lecture on emerging markets right now, and I'm going to walk through Alibaba and why I'm bullish. Many are probably like, let me take a quick sip of water actually real quick. One sec, guys. Okay. So why I'm bullish on sort of these Alibaba, these Chinese tech names. Why? Let's look at the KWeb. KWeb tracks all the mega tech internet China ETFs. All the mega tech China names. Okay. And this is probably one of the ugliest charts you can probably see. Since 2013, when they made this ETF's like your QQQ of the United States. This is your like QQQ of like China. In 2013, it opened at around 25, 26. We're literally at those levels right now. That is how beaten down China mega cap tech is. Down 70, 80% some of these names. Some of these names were growing at 20, 30, 40% clips year over year in revenues. I mean, mega cap names like Alibaba's market cap's 200 billion plus. If they were doing these types of revenues in the United States, this thing would be close to probably what, $1 trillion market cap? I mean, it's your Amazon of China, and it's still growing at some years faster than Amazon was. And so like, it's crazy to me to see some of these names so low, but guess what? There's a lot of risk. It's China being strict on mega cap tech. It's the audits from the SEC. There's all this nonsense going on, a lot of bear stuff going on that are, they're not small problems. They're definitely big problems that provide risk for sure. But for me, what just happened last week is a big thing in Alibaba, and in terms of chart technicals. We saw China now, just like I believe, except it was at 64 billion or 44 billion now in stimulus, and everyone said stimulus is going to be off the table for China, and now they're doing stimulus. So now that's going to be more money injected into their economy. China's actually lowering rates. So emerging markets, China's government is lowering rates, while the U.S. is increasing interest rates and getting really strict and tight. And China's like, nope, we're going to open it up. We just had this huge COVID thing. We need to like get our economy back into shape. China names are down 70, 80%. U.S. equities are down 30, 40%. there's some really, really, really good bargains in my opinion. And I wait for the technicals to show me where I want to buy. And so BABA technicals last week, after weeks of consolidation from March to now, basically consolidating in the same range. I'm thinking with all of these with all of these things going on in China now, with the lowering of rates, the monetary policy, the injection of stimulus. Is it one injection? Is it going to be multiple injections? No one knows. So, now we saw on the weekly chart now Alibaba pop 9% in August. And 90's been a bottom floor. 88 to 90's been a floor for about 2 or 3 months now, guys. 4 months. 5 months, actually, going on 6. So for me, I want to look for that 90 to 94 entry, maybe 95. If I can get some U.S. sell-off on the Alibaba tomorrow, maybe into Tuesday, I'm going to look to start building a nice core position in Alibaba over the next couple of days on some sell-side pressure. Hopefully I get it. I don't know if this pops 5-10% in pre-market tomorrow. I don't know. It easily could, because there was a huge inflow out of Hong Kong into Alibaba on Thursday. So there's a lot of folks trying to get into this name, as well as JD. Keep an eye on JD. It's a very high, it's like a growthier, really growthier name out of China as well. Mega cap tech. So I'm looking for Alibaba now. If you enter this position on a weekly, this is now a bigger picture time frame. This isn't a day trade. For me, I'm looking to maybe get in around the 90, 94, start to scale in around this range in here, right? Range in here, right? Range in here. And I'm going to probably look to sell the 115, the 120. Now we have a triple top at the 120. Triple top in April, triple top in July. Hasn't got back there yet. But guess what? If we break out of this 120 with volume, we could see an end of year push to 140. I would not be surprised if this name made a 40% push from here to the 140s, given that everything that's going on in China. I know it seems really bad, fearful, but they never got that like FOMO bear rally. It hasn't been a bear market rally in China yet. We just saw our huge bear market rally. The Q's rallied 20% plus. Amazon's up 42%. There were stocks ripping to the moon. Some of them went up over 100%. Coinbase went from 48 to 112. So there was big rocket moves in like 3 or 4 weeks. So if all the sentiment's changing to bullish for emerging markets in China, there's a ton of really long hedge fund exposure here that just seem to not let this drop below here. I know there's some risk, but I'm not going to risk it on the share side. I'm going to risk it on my premiums to the call side. Therefore, my only risk how I can lose on the trade is via the exposure I put up on the call side. So how I'm going to probably position this is taking long calls 1 to 2 months out. Maybe this week I'm going to dabble again. I stopped out on a small trade Friday because that was just risk management, 2-day weekend. And I lost 20% on a small position. I'll probably look to maybe chase, if we get a little dip tomorrow, I'll probably chase the downside and look to buy longer calls, September 16th, October, and then maybe even position a little bit on the Jan, maybe 110 calls, 120 calls in Jan, and maybe try and ride a 10-15% move to the upside. Now, why? This is the weekly chart, okay? I want to show you guys what the daily did. These China names move fast, swiftly, and quickly. And what I mean by that is in 2 to 3 days, this went from 87 to 104. Calls ran like 2,000%. This is a mega cap tech name, guys. So this is a 3% move, an 8% move, and then it actually opened up at 104.85, about round up about $1.05. So now ripped up another 5%. So 5, 8, 13, 16% in 3 days. So these can move, guys. These have a lot of range. As a trader, you want to see range. This is a really rangeable play. I'm looking for maybe a little bit more pullback here and maybe bottom. Where are we again? Bottom wick, 94. 94.80 is a good spot to start. 94.95 is a good start to spot. I actually like the 98 pullback we got yesterday, 98.99. I like that spot as well. And then the real big spot would be around 90, 91, 92. And long calls, I think, could be a really profitable play here if we get that momentum like we just got in our bear market rally, if we get that momentum in Hong Kong. Now, keep in mind, emerging markets trade very much differently than the United States market. So the U.S. markets could crash 3% on Friday, whereas Hong Kong could be green tomorrow morning. So they don't really coincide sometimes. They really could be completely different based on what's going on in that economy as well. Okay, obviously the economies are producing same numbers and similar trends, etc. But obviously the monetary policy, the stimulus is a little different over there than what's going on over here right now. So keep an eye on BABA, JD, NEO is the EV of China. That NEO's a good one to keep an eye on. Pinduo, Billy, BILI. That's like 4 or 5 names. Those are 4 or 5 good names to keep an eye on that are sort of big day trade names that have good range. Okay. JD, Baba, Pinduo, Billy, XPEV is another one. NEO, those are the EV guys. So keep an eye on some of those. Okay. Now I want to talk through the last point here is the S&P 500. Let's talk through the spider. I'm going to talk through trends. So a ton of put volume came in Friday for the September strikes, and they're the 380s. And that's exactly the spot that I think that we're headed to. We could wake up tomorrow. This is a daily chart, guys. We could wake up tomorrow. Who knows? We could wake up at 390 tomorrow. People will be like, that's crazy. No way. I mean, we just dropped 3.5% on Friday almost. 14 bips off 419. Another 14. Yeah. I mean, technically, we could be at 390 at the end of the week. I don't know if we get that low by the end of the week, but maybe this bottom wick here at 398. We're already at 403 in after hours. So we could retrace down here to 390. That would be my first target on the SPY. Anyone who went short in this zone, right in here, anyone who bought puts, they're going to be targeting that 390 spot. And that'll be their first target to probably cover some. And that would be a nice move from here, 415 to 390. And so all my puts, if I'm buying puts on the spider this week, that 390 spot next week, 2 weeks out, a month out is probably a good spot to try to test that. And I think we might test that much quicker than people think, especially after the Jerome Powell comments and the speech on Friday. So this is an area, I think 390 is your first support for the bulls. Your second support, which we have a quadruple bottom on, is at 370, 375. That would be the June lows everyone keeps referring to on national television, which you're probably listening to. So that's the SPY. So right now we just rejected. Now look at this candle Friday, bigger than every single candle besides the green one on June. And it almost as big as the big June sell-off. So there was a lot of volume selling Friday, over 100 million shares. Whereas the prior days were 50, 40, 50, 40, 60, 40. So almost double volume on a sell day, which means I think there's a lot of short positioning now for this week. And we could get that ripped down to 390 and we could see that move down. So any big spikes for the next couple of days, if you see them, could be really good opportunities to go short on the short term. I'm not saying we're not going to get an end of year rally like everyone's saying we might get our face ripping rally. But in the short term, when I mean the next 1 to 2 weeks, we could be headed down another 3 to 8%. Okay, very easily, quickly, and it could be swift and a lot of pain. So that's the SPY. Okay. Now I'm going to take another sip of water and we're going to jump into the Q&A session. It's 6:50. I went for about 40 minutes there. I'm right on time. Now we're going to do about 20 to 30 minutes and hopefully wrap this up by 7:15, 7:20. And I'm trying in the Discord. That is the hashtag main trading room of floor. If you just attended this session, I hope this is really, really helpful. I highly recommend just going through some of that stuff. The entry exits are crucial. The price action's crucial. Knowing market sentiment in the short term versus long term is really crucial. So all that stuff is what I use to basically show up and trade each and every day when I come to work. So so hopefully that was a really helpful session. I know hopefully we'll get some. Please throw a like, throw a subscribe. If you're not subscribed to the Discord, I highly recommend it. Everything's in real time as best as it possibly can be. And that's Spud Zone Discord. The tech team will post some of the links in the sidebar. Let's get into the Q&A, guys. This is the most important part where I love the most. So let's sort of dive into it, okay? I'm going to go back up and we're going to talk through the questions. Okay, let's start with questions. So if you guys want to start shooting questions, I'm not going to go to specific tickers and start things. Just start looking over like actual chartings and stuff. I just want to sort of keep things flowing. So try not to refrain from specific ticker questions. There's 200, 300 people on this thread. I don't really want to dive into that stuff, okay? Q&A time. Let's jump in. What do you think about Mullen long term? I know Jimmy Chain, as I said, I'm not going to try and talk through specific tickers. It's in the EV. I know they do some battery stuff, small cap, had a big run. Not sure where it is now. Haven't played it or talked through it in months since that huge run. Shane, can you look at Sava? Not going to look through specific tickers. If you are a premium member, right in the main trading room floor, maybe I'll try and get to it later. Are these recorded? Yes, Amber Skater. These are recorded. You can watch them as many times as you want. I'd like to get, obviously, live viewers as well. Douglas M. Looking at the XPEV chart in the daily, looks like a triple bottom. How would you play this moving forward? I like triple bottoms because typically things either bounce there or just fully break through. So you just have to see sort of what would happen this week. If it looks like it's fading out, then it might just see new lows. New lows off the triple bottom, of course. But if it bounces off the triple bottom, then it might be pretty bullish. That's how I'd look to play it. Can you please explain supply and demand? That is Aman Wariach. Sorry if I mispronounce folks' names. So Aman, I just walked through that earlier in the video with Tesla. There was a lot of demand on every sort of bottom tick wick on the SPY and QQQ, but Tesla wasn't fading out like a trader would expect. So those would be sort of areas where you may want to maybe sort of take a position on the short or long side. But there wasn't a lot of range on Tesla, so there was a sort of demand supply zones were sort of equal, if that makes sense. There wasn't a lot of supply, but there also wasn't a lot of demand, if that makes sense. So there wasn't a lot of sellers, but there wasn't a lot of buyers. Whereas NVIDIA, if you saw Friday, just absolutely just went down on trend and just there was not a single buyer and just kept getting walked down. And sellers were just in full control, just taking it to the ground. So that's how I look at sort of supply and demand. Joey D, I know you aren't big on meme stocks. I played them. I have a lot of fun with them, but I'm not like a holder. I just day trade them. Stocks, but where do you think the direction of AMC is going to go this week after the recent drop? I no comment on the meme stocks. They're just it's the wild, wild west. It's a casino. If they could be up 30% one day, down 30% the next. So as I said, I just go back to playing price action. If they're bearish, you could go short. If they're bullish, you could go long on. And I usually intraday it because you don't know what could happen with those things. Chris Baum, thoughts on OLB also. I saw that was a China name on Friday. Don't know anything about it personally. Maybe I'll check on the watch list. White Tiger, better off with Indy Semi. Okay, that's not a question. Josh Woolbright, will you cover some of the stocks you think are overbought the past few months? Yeah, I'll probably try and put a watch list together tonight. I'm going to take a little break, 30, 45 minutes here, and then I'll try to put something out by 9:30 p.m. Eastern time tonight for some of the stuff I'm going to be watching this week. I have some in my mind that I think could maybe pull back a little bit short term. Tesla is one of them I'm going to maybe try and target this week. As I said, I don't know if we're going to get that bearish price action, 5-7% move this week that I'm looking for, but that's a name I'm going to be looking to maybe short, along with some other maybe overbought tech names. Tech typically does not do well in the high rate and big inflation time period. So those are names I'm going to be probably looking to attack a little bit. Sort of the cyclicals do pretty well. What do we got? Who's next? Ryan0789M. Do you use the order book while trading? A little bit. When I'm trading small caps, I like to see, back to someone else's point, I think it was Aman, talking about supply and demand. From using a level 2 order book, small caps I use it. Large caps doesn't really matter because they're mega tech, they're mega caps, whatever. Where there could be huge blocks going on behind the scenes that you don't really get. You're not going to see on a level 2 order book. But on a level 2 order book, you can sort of see if there's a huge bid somewhere. You could say, okay, maybe this person really wants in there. Why? Is it is it an entry point on a stock? Is it a short covering there? So when I usually see major size sort of adding at a specific level, I tend to sort of try and follow that size into that risk zone. Especially if they're going in with size. So I do use the book a little bit while using trading small caps, but it's not like a holy grail for me. As I said, I still use price action and technical analysis much more. Amir Skater, is there a way to get alerts via text message from you? Because I'm at work during trade hours. So the Discord itself, the messages I shoot come basically in as text. If you have the Discord mobile app and are subscribed to our platform, they basically come in right on your phone via text. So we don't have text message alerts specifically, but you can get them on the Discord itself when I alert the team. Robert Rusinak, NVIDIA, my question is, what's the future for this stock in like weeks or months? Do you see that bullish? No, I had a really bearish thesis going into NVIDIA, and I actually stopped out on my thesis because I have risk management. And unfortunately, no matter how strong I feel about my thesis, my puts lost some decay and they lost, about 30% value. And I actually stopped loss with a nice sized loss. And that was Thursday into Friday. Wednesday into Thursday. And I was shocked at the 4% move, and it was a horrific earnings report. And then Friday is almost like the buyers disappeared and just sellers showed up and they took it to the ground. And that was the move I was looking for on Thursday. So it was a whole mix up there, and it finally got sold off, but they held on to those puts. They're really nice in the green, and I unfortunately took a loss Wednesday, but I don't know where NVIDIA is going. I did do a little chart exercise for myself this morning. You could see the 130s, 140s. I think high 140s would be a nice sort of mid to high 140s could be a nice next spot to maybe grab some long. I think you'll probably see some short covering in that area. I think that's probably a range where you could see next, the 140s. You'll probably see 150s tomorrow. I think it closed at 161. So you'll probably see the 150s tomorrow. 140s would maybe be like a multi-week area and that you might want to try to dabble if it gets there, of course. I don't know, but that seems like a big sort of double, triple bottom in that area on the daily and weekly chart back to 2021. What do we got? I'm trying to get through these guys. Did I just go past all these? Because we do have a lot of questions. 1 second. Okay, who's next? Was Robert Ursanak. Paul Palmer, highly recommend. Del Alto Soy. Do you use any inverse like SDS or FNGD? I do not use any inverses, sir. Brandon Balance, talk about taking weekly puts, calls versus 2 week, 3 weeks out, premium differences, pros versus cons. Yeah, so Brandon, that's a really good question, guys. I think this is a good question for everyone trying options or trading options. And it's sometimes really tough to trade options because the time decays. The shorter the time period, and if the move doesn't happen, they just all expire worthless, right? So if you're predicting a move, you may want to give yourself a couple weeks, maybe a couple months time for that move to happen. So for example, I think it was Wednesday after hours or maybe Thursday after hours, a big SPY trader came through and bought like 380 SPY puts for middle of October, about $17 million worth in premiums. So they were predicting a move to 380 in the SPY, and they got the move. They got a huge move Friday, which helped. So those are deep in the money now in that 17 million. That trader's doing extremely well in that trade. And if it goes to 390, 380 this week, he'll probably maximize that. Maybe he'll move it up. Maybe he'll roll some of those puts, take some profits off the table and roll some of those. So, I like to maybe do 2, 3, 4 weeks out. But for example, if you were taking a Friday expiration, right? I always like to maybe buy stuff that's in the money. So for example, if you wanted to take that NVIDIA, as I mentioned, right, that NVIDIA chart which we showed, right? So the bearish price action, once it broke that level, maybe you wanted to take 175 puts that expire Friday. Those I think probably close, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000% on Friday because the stock just crashed lower and lower and lower. Those are like ultra high risk. I call it gambling anonymous. Same day, same level, but that's where some traders make some serious life gains, but life-changing gains, that's what I was looking for. But if you buy a couple weeks out, it might be a 30% move, 40% move, 50% move, which is fantastic. In one day on a trade, you can make 30, 40, 50%. So, those are really big moves as well. So I like to buy, for example, I mentioned that Alibaba trade I'm looking at this week. I'm going to look for some dips if I can get them. And I'm going to try and buy 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks out and maybe do some size for some calls. Because I think this stock can rally 10, 20% potentially from this level here. So, that's a name I'm going to be looking at for some outside calls. So hopefully that helps you answer the question. The shorter the time period, the higher the risk, but higher reward. The longer time out, you do also get a time decay. So if your move doesn't happen as you expect it, up or down, those contracts are going to lose value by the day. So it's really important to sort of walk through that as well in terms of how you're going to risk it. I never go all in on the size. I want to go in options. And I always keep sort of that 20 to 25%, 30% sort of threshold where if it hits that, I take my loss and I move on. And typically I'm not heavy in size. I like to scale in 1, 2, 3 trades over like a couple day period if I think the move's going to potentially happen, okay? Hopefully that's helpful, Brandon. Chan or Chan 3232. Where do you go to find all your news and the dates of important Fed meetings? I always have CNBC Live running in the background. That's for sort of the larger picture news and bigger, broader stock market, global stuff happening. In terms of like scanners, you can use FinViz, you can use Webull Top Gainers, you can use Trade Ideas. There's a bunch of stuff out there. I typically use just volume scans, Webull Top Gainers. I use Trade Ideas. I stopped using it a while ago, though. I don't use it as much. There's a whole host of things you can use. Unusual Whales is a pretty good service. Hopefully that helps you there. Joey D, best way to build your account starting with a small savings. So starting small, you have three trades a week. I always give the secret, don't tell anyone. You can open multiple brokerages if you have a small account. Like if you have $3,000, why not take $1,000, open a Webull, open a Fidelity, open a Robinhood, open a, Trade Zero, open a, TOS, whatever you want to, whatever account you want to open. You get those 3 trades per week, you then get 9 trades, I think, right? 9 day trades if you have multiple brokerages. So it's tough to trade small accounts, but it's not impossible. I've done it. I know it's not impossible. I've seen other folks do it. It takes a while. It's a lot of discipline. But you want to be shooting for your 10, 20% base hits, whether that's in options, whether that's in stocks or equities or commodities, whatever that is. Have that base hit mentality because 10% just completely elevates a large account, small account, and sort of take your gains where you can get them. And then I would obviously say risk management is really important with small accounts because I've blown a ton of small account challenges. Everyone's going to blow accounts challenges. One or two bad trades and you could really take a hit on the account. So, yeah. Hopefully that's helpful. Joey D. Ryan Jones, they are recorded. Yes, sir. Sailing Heart, how much for your premium? I believe marketing has it at $20 a month right now. And that's unlimited content within the server. That's all the real-time alerts, watch lists, as well as our entire options alerts and options team as well. So it's basically a 20 all-in-one subscription per month. You can check that out at Spud-Zone Discord. I think the tech team's posted the link a bunch. Appreciate that, guys, in the backside there. Awesome. Robert Rusinak. So you see this market being bearish for weeks to come. I don't know about weeks, but I'm pretty bearish over the next day or two at least for some sell side pressure. You're going to have all those bulls who bought the bottoms being like, ooh, let me take some profits. Oof, maybe the market's not going to change for longer than we expected. So you'll probably see some sell side pressure over the next couple of days, as well as shorts sort of piling on in a low volume summer session. So I'm pretty bearish for this week coming up. Yes. As well as into September, we have midterms. So I'm pretty bearish for September. I think we might be able to get some hope in late October, November, December for maybe an end of market year rally in some names. But I'm pretty bearish over the next couple of days or weeks. Okay. Thoughts on futures and market open tomorrow. I haven't even checked futures, so I don't know yet, guys. Probably put some of that in my watch list. How much capital do you need to trade full-time minimum? Typically, I'd say if you have over 25K capital to trade, you get over the PDT rule, you can trade unlimited, which really helps you out because if there's just a really easy or big trade you want to maybe make intraday or like, for example, right, the Powell news came out and you wanted to go short because you knew everyone's going to be selling, you can trade over 25K and not be at a day trade. So I always say 25K is that minimum threshold if you want to be like unlimited day trading going for this full time. But I've seen people go full time, 5, 10, 15K. If you're 2 or 3K, I definitely recommend sort of studying, taking that approach, building that account over a long period of time before sort of jumping right into things. I've seen a lot of people burn accounts and people lose sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Lose like passion or they get discouraged. But, a lot of traders fail, but a lot of people don't put in the time and don't properly communicate and talk to people and really try and understand how to trade. So, it can be done. Anyone can do it. I've seen people turn really small accounts into really big accounts and vice versa. So you just got to be careful, have risk management, and obviously, you could be passionate and inspired by it as well. Okay. We're on to Monty Burns. Can you talk about a level 2 time and sales as guide for entry? I don't usually use time and sales as guide for entry, Monty. It's just not how I trade. What do you usually have phenomenal dip entries, and I'm working on my better entries. Thanks as always, Spud. Yeah, so I try and find really strong tickers that maybe dip off and where people are taking profits, but the run may not be over. So, for example, that nerve ticker I just showed, I made 0 trades on that name, but I was showing you guys the price action of where you could have bought it all day, and there was like 2 or 3 entries all day that you could have bought in and then got another 10 or 15% move above where you bought in. I typically don't like to buy strong names unless I get a dip. Now, if I get a really nice dip off a bottom wick where the run started, then I'll probably take an entry there and look to sell for gains, right? Sell the next strong rip. I'm a big dip buyer. I love dips, but I love dips on strong momentum names. I don't like to buy tops. The only time I buy tops is if I see a volume push over like a strong resistant level where I know shorts may be covering, and I know new buyers may be jumping in, and there's a lot of volume where I could get in above the wick, and if it drops below like an HOD push, high of day push, then I can maybe stop loss out at that same entry. So I don't like to chase tops unless they're breaking through a key technical area on a chart, or unless there's maybe news or something. Otherwise, I'm normally a dip buyer on strong names. Same as on the short side. I want to be shorting tops and covering when there's panic. For example, right, Bed Bath & Beyond, when there was panic and Ryan Cohen, whatever the heck his name was sold his stake, I believe, right? Tons of panic. That's when you want to be shorting. You don't want to be covering. You want to be shorting, and then when sort of things base out a little bit, that's maybe when you want to be covering in the 8s and 10s, right in there. So that's sort of how I look into it. Hopefully that's helpful. What are your top large cap traders trade for options? Tesla, Apple, SPY, QQQ are usually my top 4. Those are the typical ones I like to stay with, those 4. Tesla has probably been the best performer for me in the last 2.5 years in terms of trading options, for sure, after all those 4. As distressed mortgages are likely, Douglas M., as distressed mortgages are likely to come about in the coming year as the key plays you would look at. Not too familiar on sort of the day in and out on the days and mortgages and stuff like that. It's not my cup of tea, to be quite frank. So I'm not really looking at that stuff, but I'd probably monitor the rates because that will have a lot to do with supply and demand and housing and sort of mortgages and stuff like that. I don't think we're going to have a 2008 crisis per se, but there could be a nice little housing pullback, which I suspect. It's good bet. The entry on name is It's Good Bet. The entry on Baba Friday, what do you expect? A decay on those contracts I never exited. Not sure. I don't know what China's doing right now in future markets. You could get a little, I think it could get a little bloody tomorrow. But I think dips could be bought up and we could have a really nice green week on some of those Baba JD China names. We'll see. We'll see. That's my prediction. The weekly charts are sort of gearing up. The consolidation's been for 4 or 5 months. So I'm thinking we could get maybe a final breakout on these names that we've been looking for. We'll see. Best way to find tickers to day trade. I just talked through that. Webull, Top Gainers, FinViz, Trade Ideas, Benzinga, stuff like that. Do you think premiums on SPY options will move less at, say, 300 versus a higher amount like 400s? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Nikki Pooh saves the world. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Will the premiums move less? It's all about the time. It's all about the time decay on your contracts when they expire. So premiums are going to move less when you have more time. Premiums are going to move more quickly when you have less time. I think I said that right. Yeah. Bernard Benito, maybe beneficial for new traders. Can you walk us through how you're set up fib charts? I honestly don't even really set up fib charts. I use MACD, VWAP, intraday. Moving averages, I'll use 250 and 100 day, not even 100 day, mostly 200 day, because I use 200 day moving averages on a lot of stocks because that's where large institutional money uses as a basis to go long or short on a really large time frame, 6 to 12 months. So if things are below the 200 MA, that's considered bearish in their mind for an extended period of time. So I like to use the 200 MA when trading large cap, and if it's above 200, people consider that very bullish. There's going to be a lot of that coming down the stretch into this year. People are going to, all the money managers, all the hedge funds, all the index funds, mutual funds, any private wealth managers going to be looking at 200-day moving averages on a lot of the, fun names or good names or high performers, the Apples, the Teslas, the Microsofts, the QQQs of the world. So keep an eye on those sort of 200-day, 50-day, etc. Almost done here. I'm running out of voice. Shane Miller, and we're almost done here, guys. Appreciate you guys staying on. Almost 175 of you already. Still, that's awesome. That is awesome. That is great. When you look at level 2, do you enter or exit on the buy/sell? So when I exit positions, and actually when I enter positions, 90% of the time I'm using a limit buy order, and I'm buying on a dip at, I don't use market orders, especially if I'm using size. I always buy limit. Why? Because spreads can be interchangeable, and depending on what broker you get, you don't know what kind of spread you may get. So I always, if it's 50 or 100K position or 150K, anything above 100, I really only use limit. Maybe if I'm using 30, 40 as a dabble for me, I might just market order, buy it a couple times in the here and there, and that works out. But when I'm selling, it's almost always limit selling. Why? Because, if you're trading a fast penny mover that's post halt, like, you need to have limits because you don't know where that market order is going to fill you. And that's the reality is, and through my years of experience in trading, like, I've lost a lot of profits, but I've also lost a lot of money on having like stop losses at market entry, not limits. So like I've had my fair share of bad experiences with not using limit orders. So everything I have in terms of limit, in terms of buying and selling is on limit orders. Hopefully that helps you. And it's just easier that way. You can always move up the limit order on the desktop screen or or your mobile device. So if the stock's continuing to go up and you had a limit sell, you could just keep moving up with it, and then moving up that stop loss limit, right? And that's my sort of secrets to trade. I just keep moving things up as the move continues to happen. And then, if it breaks down, bang, you just get out and you take your profits and you move on to the next trade. So hopefully that's helpful. 7:13 here. We got about 5 or 6 more minutes, guys, and we're going to wrap up. David Sequel, do you watch any news networks while trading? Yes, CNBC is my favorite one. Bloomberg's also great. Those are my two that I sort of keep intact. CNBC is usually the one I like. I like some of the commentary. There's a lot of bulls, a lot of bears, and they keep it pretty real most of the time. Cameron Zamir, the ticker suggestion you send in the day trade alerts, you suggest them must sell at the end of the day. So day trade alerts for me are day trade alerts. They're literally day trades. Unless I put them in the swing trade channel, unless I'm saying, hey guys, I'm going to swing this to tomorrow, I'm going to swing this into after hours. 99% of the time, it's just a day trade for me. I'm almost always full cash by 4 p.m. each and every day. It's just how I trade. In these markets, you could have a huge up day like NVIDIA on Thursday, and all the bulls are like, oh my God, we're going back to 200. This is insane. My calls are up so much. I'm up so much money, blah, 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 blah. And then Friday morning, it fell off a cliff and saw new lows, and it's, everyone lost $1 zillion. So like, that's why being a day trader is pretty awesome in volatile times like this, because you can ride the bullish train on a one day, and you could wake up the next day and something happened, like AK Powell just exploded on where inflation really is. And, we saw the monster sell-off Friday. And so you just don't know. So for me, in this circumstance, we're not in a market to just be like, I'm going to swing this till tomorrow. So for me, my capital is the most important thing. And, I'm looking to sell by 4 p.m., sometimes by 9:35 if I take 9:30. So you just never know. So I'm always cash by the end of the day. Hopefully that helps. Shane Ellison, do you use any software to help with analysis or prediction? No, a lot of technical analysis combined with sort of market sentiment. Yep. Shane Miller, I do not have Bloomberg Terminal. I have a bunch of buddies who work on the street who have Bloomberg Terminal. Great software. I don't want to drop 50 grand on it a year. I think that I can do just fine with the tools I have today and some of the scanners that I have today. I get news just as quickly on some of the things. Bloomberg Terminal is great. It's the best thing to use if you're a trader on the street. But some of my buddies really love that software. I don't use it, no. But it is great if you can afford it, and you're looking to do that. That's great. You can't go wrong with it. It's an awesome platform. Let's see. B. Turner, photography. Do you think the U.S. economy, housing market, etc., gets better or worse this year? I think the big challenges could hit us in 2023 when things actually slow down. A lot of the earnings reports and housing, and it was all hindsight. I think 2023 could be a real interesting sort of a non fun year for many. So we'll see how that works. I don't think the big down move may happen till we actually maybe get into a recession, if we ever get into one. I think the 2023 could be a good time for that stuff. So just be careful, and that's what I'm sort of predicting and looking for. Robert Rosniak, I did a home I put still Friday. Okay, Pacelins, hey Spud, what's up, man? Almost done, guys. Almost done. Shane Ellison, how do you find these types of buys? Someone went 10 million on SPY puts. Someone wrote it in the channel. There's Ortex. There's a lot of dark pool stuff people put out in after hours. A lot of our community is on top of a lot of these news reports and scanners and knowledge and data. And so that's another really good reason to be a part of the Discord community. It's just so many traders that are trying to do really well. And I always say knowledge is power. When you have a lot of smart people in one room, a lot of things can get done. That's sort of the approach we take in the Discord. And, a lot of people are fast moving with a lot of the news and things in the market. And we have a great sort of intraday channel that always talking about stuff. Really cool. Buy to dip. How are futures looking? Not sure. I haven't looked yet. Andrew Carlson, what tickers do you follow to inform your macro view? QQQ and SPY are the two tickers that I do my macro. When you can finally understand the price action of the spider and the QQQ, whether it's bearish or bullish, you can then make new calls on where maybe other stocks within those sectors that have been strong in the past or weak in the past can potentially go. So yeah, I use the indexes to make sort of decisions where things can maybe go. Wesley Henry, do you use limit orders for options too? Yes. I have anytime I buy an options contract, whether that's a weekly, a lotto play, or whether that's I always 99% have a stop loss. Stop loss could be 10%, 20%, 30%, depending on the size of the contracts I bought. But I always have a stop loss unless I have a swing that's like multi-month in calls or puts or something like that. Then I won't put a stop loss right away. I'll wait to see if the trade actually pans out. And as time goes on, if I'm losing time decay on them, then I'll put a stop in, 15, 20, 30% or whatever it may be. Hopefully that's helpful. Awesome, guys. Thank you. Looks like there's a lot of thank yous. Josh Wilbright, how long do you think the IPOs will stay hot? Honestly, I think it's sort of dying out, buddy. The SEC chair, Kramer, had a discussion, I think it was Friday, midday or morning, talking about the craziness in these China IPOs. I think a lot of this is going to slow down, or at least halted most of the day, and it'll be tough to trade or get any type of size on the trade to actually make some percentage gains on it. I think the IPO market's fully broken right now. You're not seeing any SPAC deals go on, so I think things are just going to be dead for the rest of the year. People are itching for some of these IPOs or SPAC deals, and you're just not getting any on the street. So maybe next year, but it's not the best time for IPOs. But there's been some craziness in that sector. I know from small caps perspective. So I'm watching them, but I'm not really playing them because it's really tough to trade them, and they open up 10,000% up, and then they close down 60% the next day. So it's not much. It's not my cup of tea. Maybe in and out scalp, but they're always halted. So I don't suspect maybe that market's going to go for a while. But that HKD thing did turn a lot of things up. That was a fun sort of FOMO chase couple days there. So yeah, I do enjoy trading those sort of FOMO chase days when they come back, of course. I hope this is helpful. Can you guys please like and comment? I'm going to close up here, guys. We sort of hit the timeline, done to the minute here. I'm really happy. I sort of stayed on time, stayed on track. I don't do these sessions that often, maybe once or twice every couple months. I try to do a big follow on these. This will probably get a couple thousand views, and I love that. If you are not a premium member, I highly recommend the Discord. I'm not being biased. We have thousands and thousands of positive testimonials. Highly recommend checking them out. So you can highly check out the testimonials. You can talk to some traders in there. It is $20 a month for the unlimited content in there, as well as all the real-time alerts that our traders are taking. Highly recommend checking it out. Great place to learn the basics. Great place to learn the markets analysis, etc. And then if you do want more hands-on trading and sort of tips and sort of technicals and stuff like that, we have a really smart options trader. Harmony Trades in the group. He runs our options and education community. So you can definitely follow him and DM him for @lessons. He does them every weekend. Classes are usually pretty much full. So you usually have to get in basically by Tuesday or Wednesday for his classes. Group sessions are individual sometimes. Highly recommend that. As well as that, you can follow me on social media. You can follow me on Weeble at Spud-Zone Official. I have 54,000 followers there. Most followed trader on that application. And you can follow me on StockTwitch as well, under Spud-Zone Official as well. Thanks, guys. This was an amazing session. I really appreciate you guys all coming on. It sounds like it was really helpful. If it wasn't, I'd love to know why, or maybe something you were looking for differently. Just post a comment. You could DM me on Discord. You can DM me on the YouTube or post a comment. But love feedback as well. Always try to make these sessions for you guys. As you guys know, I'm super passionate. I love this stuff. I really, really do. And so I'm looking forward to a great trading week. I'm going to go take a little rest and get ready for tomorrow. But really excited to trade this week. Let's continue navigating these crazy markets and rock on. Hopefully this was fun. Definitely awesome. Appreciate it, guys. Spud Zone out. Have a great night.